Welcome back. In this video, we are going to learn about read operation from the Angular application. That is, we are requesting to the server API from the Angular application and we are retrieving the student details from the server and then we are displaying inside our Angular frontend. Okay. In the student component.html file, I have cleared all the content, and inside the student component also I have cleared all the content inside the student component class. Okay, and then inside the student component.html we need to display the student details. For that, to save time, I have view template. I am going to use this. Paste it here. Here inside the div we have table. In the table we have student name, student department, student mail ID and student marks and student photo. Okay, then we have some actions to perform, delete or update that student, right? Inside that we are going to display the student details. Okay, then we have the update and delete button to update and delete the student. Then if you are clicking the update, the student profile should be displayed. To edit below the table, so that I have given this student profile edit. Inside that we are going to edit that name. So we have name and student department and email ID and then marks. Okay. Then we have submit and clear button for that edit option. Then I have installed the Bootstrap. For installing the Bootstrap, we have to navigate to our project folder. Then we have to install npm space I space Bootstrap. Okay, this is installation command for installing Bootstrap. Okay, just click enter, automatically it will be installed. Then if we go to project folder, we have the Bootstrap inside the node module. Okay, see here, Bootstrap. Inside that we have distribution folder. Inside that CSS folder. Inside that we have bootstrap.min.css file. This file should be imported inside the styles.css. Okay. Here we have to import like this. We have to use @import URL. Then inside the node module folder we have Bootstrap folder. Under that we have dist folder. Under that we have CSS folder. Under that we have this bootstrap.min.css file. Okay. After that we have this code, right? After that I have added this style classes. This for padding, for span element, for the field set, then input focus and button, and to display the messages, and for the legend. Then inside the student.component.css file I have given some styles for table. Okay, to access the server API we need to create a service class inside our application folder. Inside the app folder we can create a folder. Under that we can create that service class, or else we can directly create under the app component. Now I am going to create a file that is called as student.service.ts file. Okay, this is the service that will communicate with the other APIs and then provide the data to our Angular application. This service class is responsible to communicate with other APIs to serve some data. Not only for data, to communicate with other APIs, it will be an intermediator for our Angular application. Inside that, I am going to import Injectable package from the core, and then I am going to import the Observable from RJX, and then I am going to HTTP client from the Angular/common/HTTP. Okay. Then we have to define the class. We are going to export this also. For that, with the export keyword, class student service. Inside that, I am going to create a constructor. I am going to initialize the HTTP client object by using private access specifier HTTP client as the type HTTP client. Then I am going to specify the URL as a string type equal to http://127.0.0.1:4000 is our port number, and then /students is our endpoint for getting the students. Okay. Then I am going to define the function get students. Here I am going to call HTTP client dot get of our URL. This dot URL. This should return some value. So I am going to save it as let stud equal to this dot. Then I am going to return this. Okay. Now save the changes here. Okay. Then inside the component class, I am going to create a variable student result as type any. Then this class we have to import OnInit also. Here this component class going to implements the OnInit. When we are implementing this, we have to implement the ng-init. OnInit method should be implemented. Here I am going to call get students method. We have to define this function. Okay. Here get students. Okay. Here we have to call that service. Here we have to import this. Okay. For that, I am going to create a constructor by using the private access specifier. I am going to student service as student service. Okay. Automatically it is imported empty constructor. Okay. This dot get students. Here we have to call the function in the student service dot get students. Okay. It will return, right? Here in the student service we are returning some values that should be captured here. Okay. We have to use subscribe function. Inside that I am going to have a variable data type as any, and then I am going to define a function with the arrow function syntax. Here I am going to give student result equal to data dot students. Okay. The data is written as a response. In the response we have the students objects. See here. Here we have the student object that will be written from this address endpoint. Okay. That students will be captured here by using the subscribe method. Now save the changes, and I am going to log this student result, save it. Now save the changes, go to the browser. Inside that we have, if we click student details, here we are getting some errors, that is null injector error. We have to inject that in the student service class. Here we have to specify at injectable. We have to define a property called as provided in colon. We have to specify the value as root. Now save the changes and go to the browser. Now if I click the student details, I am getting the 3 student details, okay, from this server API. Okay, now let's check how we are going to display those details in the students. In the student.html, I have to save this. Now go to the browser. Okay, now I am getting the proper UI. Now we have to define the details of these 3 students here. Okay, we have learned the directives, that is called as structural directives ng for equal to, here I am going to define a variable s of, we have the variable inside the student.component.ts student result. I'm going to use that. Okay, here we have to specify the values by using the expression syntax, 2 set of curly brackets, Control C. Here I am going to replace this also. Now inside that, first is a student name, so that s dot, what is the value? Here we have student name. Okay, then we have s dot student. Next we have student email ID. For that we have the field name as email ID. S dot email ID. Then we have S dot marks. We have S marks. Then we have S image. Now we have to define the S image with the URL. We have to specify that URL. I am concatenating the URL with that S image name, S image value. Then here I am using this data binding, property data binding. Okay, now we have to define this URL inside the student.ts. Here I am going to define that as a string type equal to http://127.0.0.1:4000. This is our server endpoint /. Okay, save the changes and go to the browser. Now we have the error S image, right? Because we have to use s.s image. S dot, because s is the iterate variable here, we have to use that object. See here, we are getting the values of the students and also we are getting the photo. Already we have the images inside this, so that we are getting. Now we have gone through some new packages. It is called as Injectable. I'm going to delete this. Injectable and HTTP client and Observable packages. So let's see about that. First we will see about the HTTP client. HTTP client is used to communicate with other server APIs. This Angular application will act as a HTTP client that will request to the particular APIs, that is server API. Okay. Then we will see about the injectable. This injectable is used to ensure the necessary metadata to create the class dependencies whenever we are injecting this class. Inside this injectable, we have injectable function that will take care those operations. What are the dependencies for our class injection? That will be take care by the injectable object. Okay. Now we will see about the observable. Now we are not using this observable. We will use later for creating. This observable is a function that can return the stream of values to observe over the time. Each and every time it will monitor asynchronously or synchronously. Okay. Observable or data source wrappers that execute some instruction when there is a new value or a change in the data values. Okay. If you are specifying some data values, it will be observed using this observable string. Observable is connected to the observe who does the execution through the subscription with the subscript method. The observe connects to the observable to execute the code block. Okay. Then we have some method that is called as OnInit. OnInit. Right. In the OnInit, OnInit is a lifecycle hook in Angular that is called after the constructor is called and after the components input have been initialized. It is used to perform any additional initialization that is required for the component. Okay. It is commonly used to call the services or to set up some subscriptions. Okay. Here we are used to call the services. Here we are having the get student service that is called after the constructor is initialized. This is about this lecture. In the next video, we will see how to add new students from this Angular application. Thank you everyone.